Hi, this is Sue Jackson, and I'm here today with a tag video. This is a new one, the big 6-0 tag, created by Suey's Book Banter, and I was tagged by Suey, so thank you. She created this tag in celebration of her 60th birthday, and I wanted to do it right away because I also just turned 60 this summer, in July when we were traveling on our big trip. So I spent my birthday in Glacier National Park, but I think Suey had a great idea to create a tag to celebrate her birthday. And she came up with some really fun and creative prompts. Prompt 1, what is a comfort read you will never outgrow? So at first I wasn't sure about this because I thought, I don't really read for comfort too often. I don't reread very often. But then I realized just this fall, in September, I did rediscover a favorite comfort read, and that is Nancy Drew. I read The Mystery at the Lilac Inn, and this is the original 1931 edition. And then I got it out of the library. I got the newer edition, the one that I would have read in the 70s out of the library, discovered it was a completely different book. And I read both of them and thoroughly enjoyed them. This is what mine looked like when I was a kid. So I think I rediscovered this fall that Nancy Drew is a comfort read I will never outgrow. Prompt 2, what is a book that was published in the decade you were born? So I went for the year that I was born, same as Suey, 1965, and I found several books that we actually still own that were published in 1965, two of which were big hits. So probably the biggest book hit of 1965 was Dune by Frank Herbert. This, as you can probably tell, is probably an original. This is my husband's. Actually, it's got his sister's name on the side, so I guess it was hers first. Oh, I do see he bought it used for 50 cents at the book rack in Edmond, Oklahoma. So he bought it when he was a teenager. It's my husband's all-time favorite book. That's why he's still got a copy. The other book I noticed was published in 1965 was a favorite of mine and of our sons. And that's The Mouse and the Motorcycle by Beverly Cleary, a classic. I enjoyed it when I was a kid. Our sons loved this book and its sequel, Runaway Ralph. Great books. And the other one that caught my eye was Up the Down Staircase by Belle Kaufman. So I don't even know how big a novel this was, like if other people know about it. I think this was my mother's copy maybe, or maybe I bought it at a used bookstore. It does look like it's got a 19 cents on the cover, so. But right on the cover it says, I loved it, I chuckled, I roared, I wept, it became a part of me. It's a must read. The year's #1 best-selling novel. It's about a young teacher at a high school in a city. And I do remember, I read it as a teenager, but I remember really enjoying it. So those are some modern classics published in 1965. Modern classics just like me. Question 3, what is a book you would rate 6 stars in a 5-star rating system? Suey, this might seem kind of copycat, but my pick is the same as yours, and that's Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. This book just blew me away, and it has everything. It is fast-paced science fiction with all kinds of suspense and twists, plot twists that you'll never see coming. It made me tear up at times. It made me laugh out loud a lot. It is heartwarming, suspenseful, funny. I mean, it's got it all. And most of all, it is a book that just completely surprises you. Highly recommended. Definitely 6 stars. Okay, question 4. What is a favorite book from your 6 most read genres? Well, you know how I respond when people make me choose favorites. I could have made a list of 20 books, but I tried to control myself. Okay, so one of my favorite genres is sci-fi thrillers. I often point to Dark Matter by Blake Crouch right there. That's one of my favorites. But another is Wool by Hugh Howey. This is a book that he self-published it because he couldn't get a publisher. And then it blew up by word of mouth so enormously that he ended up with an amazing publishing contract. And it's been made into a TV series on Apple TV called Silo. I first read it because all of my good friends kept saying, you have to read this book. It's amazing. So absolutely amazing. A great example of science fiction thriller, the kind that I like, that focuses heavily on character development, but still has lots of suspense and surprising twists. And it's just really well written and an outstanding book. And the beginning of a trilogy. The other two are right here, Shift and Dust. Historical fiction. This is a book I've talked about a lot on my channel, but it is my favorite. I do enjoy lots of historical fiction. Hum If You Don't Know the Words by Bianca Murray is one of my all-time favorites. And until everyone in the world knows about this book, I'm going to keep talking about it. It takes place in South Africa in the 1970s during apartheid. It's about a young white girl named Robin, who is like the best literary character ever, who has been orphaned. Both of her parents were killed. And the only person to take care of her is her aunt, who loves her, but works as a flight attendant and is never home. So her aunt hires a housekeeper slash nanny kind of person. This is a black woman named Beauty. Beauty has her own ulterior motive. As a black person who doesn't live in South Africa, she is only allowed to stay in the city if she's employed there. So that's why she takes this job, taking care of Robin. Her priority is finding her own daughter, a teenager who's gone missing. This is just another book that has everything. It's got mystery with the missing daughter, suspense. It has incredible historical detail. And apartheid is not that far in the past. And racism is certainly still present. So it is so thought-provoking, it is so relevant, but it is also laugh out loud funny. Bianca was a Booktopia author. That's that annual event I go to in Vermont every spring. And I've gotten to know her a bit personally, and she just has the greatest sense of humor. And it comes through in this book. So Robin and Beauty form this amazing bond. Robin's misunderstanding of the adult world forms a lot of the humor here. And it's just an amazing book that has everything. My next most read genre, I would say, is time travel. As you've probably heard me talking. And yes, I separated that out from science fiction thrillers. Even though time travel is usually science fiction. And of course, you've heard me talk about my all-time favorite book and time travel book, The Time Traveler's Wife by Audrey Niffenegger. So I went in a different direction today, and I chose Blackout and All Clear by Connie Willis. These two go together. This one ends like in the middle of the action. So they're really basically one book. All of Connie Willis's time travel books are great, but these two are just mind-blowing. It's about a group of time travelers from 2060 Oxford. They're historians. They travel back in time simply to observe and study history as it's happening. But in this case, they get stuck and can't get back in World War II London. Multiple perspectives, great character development, incredibly compelling and suspenseful, very twisty. I just couldn't put either one of these down. And my husband felt the same way. Two of our favorite books. My next most read genre, or I went more with my favorite genres rather than most read, but contemporary fiction. But caveat, with strong character development and a sense of humor. So books like The Bean Trees by Barbara Kingsolver, but the favorite one that I picked is The Heart's Invisible Furies by John Boyne. Another book that just blew me away. I laughed, I sobbed. A book that can make me feel like that is always going to be at the top of my list. And then I wasn't sure what my other most read genres would be. So I took a look at Storygraph. I only just joined it this summer, but I imported all my data from Goodreads. It's really, I love data anyway. I love the way that it presents all this data. So it said one of my most read genres, it may have been the most read, was YA. Now, personally, I don't consider that a genre, because within YA, you've got historical fiction, science fiction, romance, there are genres within YA. But since Storygraph counted it, I figured I would too. And then I started just paging through the 5-star YA books that I've read. Oh, there were so many, and it was really hard to choose. So as usual, I didn't choose just one. Because YA does encompass different genres, I chose a couple of different genres. I've read some outstanding YA historical fiction, but one of the best was Between Shades of Grey by Ruta Sepetys. The first book that it was my introduction to Ruta, and I've loved everything she's written since. Just, another blown me away book. And interestingly, my cousin, who is 30 years younger than more than 30 years younger than I am, she read it about the same time I did. I was an adult, she was a teenager, and we were both blown away. So just an outstanding book. I've mentioned this one before, Unwind by Neal Shusterman. It's the start of a science fiction thriller series, YA. And I had so many YA science fiction thriller books that I've loved. But this one moves to the top of the list because it's also so thought-provoking. It's dystopian. And Neal Shusterman is so good at this. This made-up world very much reflects certain elements of our own world in a way that is both frightening and hopeful because of what the heroes in the story are able to do. Highly recommended. And then another one popped up on that list, and I just had to mention it because I don't think I've ever mentioned it on my channel before. And that is Pendragon by D.J. McHale. The first book is The Merchant of Death. It's a 10-book series. So I've often said on my channel that I don't read series, and I don't read series from beginning to end. This was an exception. So this was back when I was writing reviews for Family Fun magazine for kids' books. I honestly don't remember, and you can tell by the character's a little young here. It's kind of like Harry Potter. The early books might be more older middle grade, but it's definitely YA by like the middle to the end. It's about traveling to different worlds. The main character, Bobby Pendragon, visits all these different worlds, these different dimensions that he never knew existed before. And it's on him to save the world. Again, kind of Harry Potter-esque, but very much science fiction, not fantasy. I don't remember if the first one to read this first book was me or my son, but whichever one of us read it first told the other, you have to read this. And typically I would read the first book in a series to review it for Family Fun. In this case, and then usually my son would read the whole thing. In this case, both of us flew through the entire 10-book series. He still got the whole thing upstairs. he doesn't live here anymore and he's 31, but he's very attached to his books, especially his favorites. And this was a favorite. Just an outstanding series. So this gets my win for being the most compelling, propulsive series I have ever read. And I'm almost done. My sixth most read genre is memoir. And I chose two, sorry. Born a Crime, Stories from a South African Childhood by Trevor Noah. Moving, insightful, thought-provoking, but also hysterically funny. And Lab Girl by Hope Jahren, a memoir written by a woman biologist. Again, there's a lot of depth to it, but it's also got a great sense of humor. So, loved that one too. Prompt 5. What is a book you knew you would love even before you opened it? A book you had a sixth sense about. I would say that was Life After Life by Kate Atkinson. I'd never read anything by her before, I'd never even heard of her. But when I heard the premise of this book, that a woman keeps reliving her life over and over, I knew I would love it. One of my favorite books of all time is, and this is in that category too, but it's a similar book, Replay by Ken Grimwood. And I just love that concept. Again, so thought-provoking, great character development, really intriguing and suspenseful, and it lived up to my expectations and more. Question 6, what is a book you would recommend to the next generation of readers? Well, my son's girlfriend loves to read, and I have given her many of the books that I've just mentioned here. Wool, Hum If You Don't Know the Words. I think I might have given her the Poisonwood Bible, some of my favorites. But if I go even younger and think of the current generation of teens, I think one book that I would give to a teenager right now would be The Firekeeper's Daughter. Because it's an exciting thriller, it's got a little bit of romance in it, but it's also got amazing character development and so much emotional depth. And it makes you think about some issues related to Indigenous people. And I think that would be a great message for the next generation of readers, that a book can be entertaining and exciting, but also make you think. Okay, this was a great tag, Suey. Wonderful job, and happy birthday. Tag some friends is the last part. So I'm tagging Talia Nerds Out and Marlisha's Meanderings. They often do their tag videos together, their daughter and mother, so I tag both of them. I'm tagging Kevin Toll Reads and Michael Romeo Talks Books. And I would love to hear from you. Tell me, what's a book that you would rate 6 stars on a 5-star scale? Let me know about it in the comments down below.